Black Klansman. This movie is directed by Spike Lee. It stars John David Washington, yes, Denzel's son, Adam Driver, Topher Grace, and it is the crazily true story of the first black police officer in Colorado Springs decides to try to infiltrate the Ku Klux Klan. And you can imagine how that would go. So he basically works with another white detective, and he's him over the phone. And then when he goes in, his character or him is played by his friend. He's the police force. So there's two people playing the same person to infiltrate and work against the Ku Klux Klan as inside the police. Now, I was surprisingly really, really, really ready and excited for this movie. I don't really know why. I saw the trailer a few months ago and I was like, this actually looks really cool. I'm really excited for it. I watched Bowlers, which is basically, other than being Denzel's son, what John David Washington would be known for. So I'd seen his stuff and he's actually a decent actor. I think he's very underrated and he killed it in this movie. I think the two main aspects of the movie that really, really just are quite good are the story and the characters. Now, the characters are great. I think John David Washington, the real Ron Stallworth, is really good. He plays whatever he's doing in the movie, whether it's pretending to be a white guy over the phone or, working on his cases inside the police, being himself, or with, Patrice, his kind of love interest. I think he always does some really good stuff there, and that's really entertaining to watch. As well as Adam Driver's character, the white Ron Stallworth, Flip. He's really good in this movie. He was really enjoyable to watch as well. He was a lot of fun. And then, the side characters. I think Topher Grace actually did a really, really good job. And then some of the side characters are just so crazy to watch. Not in a great way. Like, the characters aren't great people, but they're just good characters, if that makes sense. There's some of these characters are in the Ku Klux Klan. So they're not going to be the funnest people, but they are very entertaining. And, in a way, you're like, that's so ridiculous. That's so fucked up. But, it's the movie. So that's what you got to embrace for. Now, the story, as I said, is really entertaining. It's a really cool story. Now, I actually always go and look at biopics and see what is real and what is not. Basically, what I figured out is that the story itself and the idea is correct. 100%. There was a black police officer that did pretend to be white over the phone and then got a white officer sent him in and they tried to, do an inside investigation against Ku Klux Klan. But some of the elements that happen inside the story aren't necessarily always true. I think they had to kind of make them up to make the story more interesting, because it was kind of just a lesser cool story. Like, it's a cool story, don't get me wrong, but it was not as exciting. Some of the events that actually happened in the movie didn't necessarily happen in real life. Now, that's fair enough. I understand why they did that. Now, the politics is a big factor in this movie. Of course it is. It starts off with Alec Baldwin's character, who you only see in this one scene, and he basically makes this like white tirade speech on, white people should be ruling the planet. And then at the end they show some stuff from the Charlottesville, I want to say, attack last year, or, the riot and the people got hit by cars like that. Just some messed up shit. And, there's some stuff with Trump in there that they throw in. And I think, that's what you expect. It's of course, this movie's going to make a political statement, and it does, and I think it does it in the right way, not to just throw it in half-heartedly in a movie that, no one expected it to be. It's definitely there because this is what the movie is, and that's the right sense of doing this. Now, the aspects that I didn't like about the movie. Now, I did enjoy this movie a lot. I think this movie was fun. It was funny for the most part. And, it was entertaining to watch and great story. But the actual movie-making aspects of this movie at some points really annoyed me. The editing in this movie sounded like a YouTube editing at some points. I was just looking like, why did they do that? It just didn't like that. They tried to take weird, like, cool turns just for the sake of being like, oh, this is awesome editing. Let's just chuck this in for really no reason. And then, like, the cinematography was awful in a lot of these scenes, and the tonal changes are really bad a lot of the time in this movie. I don't really get them. Whether it is just music they add and change the tone of the scene, and then they go back and just complete weird, or whatever it is, or if it's actually just, a scene that's funny and then it's serious in the second after that. I didn't like that aspect of the movie, and those aspects really, really annoyed me. I think the direction of this movie wasn't very good. I'm sorry, Spike Lee, but it wasn't. I didn't like the direction of this movie. I think the main aspect of the movie, which was the characters and the story, it worked 100%. Well done to that, but the cinematography was not good. The editing really did not, it didn't work for most of it. Now, of course, these are I wouldn't say minor things, but these things that, you know, if you like the story and the characters, that's what you got to like in every single movie. So of course I'm still going to like the movie and enjoy this movie a lot, but that just really, it did make me go, this movie could have been a lot better if those things were fixed, because this movie is pretty good, but god damn, if they fixed those things, I would be walking out of this movie going, that was fucking awesome. But I can't get that, and I can't say that because of those specific things that I spoke about. So that, you know, is they are big problems, but they're only minor problems, because it's basically you're just here to see the story unfold and see these characters deal with it, and it does that, and it checks that box 100%, and it was very enjoyable, so that's why I'm going to give Black Klansman a B. Now, this was a hard one to grade, because at one point I was thinking B minus, but I was thinking B, because, you know, those actual movie-making elements just really didn't click for me. But then I thought about it and go, well, you know what did click for me? The story and the characters work so well, and they're the things you need to worry about in any movie before you focus on the rest, and before you try to make the best shots, or make the best editing choices, or, you know, score, whatever. You got to have the core elements, and the core elements are those two things that I think they did very, very well, and it worked. Whether they was true or not, which some of them weren't, it still made for an entertaining movie, and I did enjoy it a lot, and I do recommend you seeing this movie. If you don't want a political movie, probably avoid it, because it is, but you know, no one goes in this movie complaining, coming out going, that was too political, because they knew what it is going into it. You know, they got stuff like The Meg, Slender Man, Happy Time Murders. I'm trying to spit off some names of movies that just came out. I reviewed them. You guys, there's a pretty big, you know, August, September bracket there, so you don't be rushing to the movies to see this if you don't want a political movie. But if you do, if you don't care about the politics and you want to watch a great movie, this is definitely up there. I definitely recommend watching this movie. I also recommend subscribing if you haven't, giving it a thumbs up. But of course, guys, have a good one.